Yo, welcome back to Yes Academy Podcast. And today with me again, handsome Jonathan and handsome Mr. Pang.
Hi.
Hello.
So I think we were talking about the last 4 steps.
Oh yeah. About
Last
the
four
selling
steps.
system, right?
Let's recap the first.
Yeah, let's recap the
Okay.
first step. What was the first step, if you all could remember?
Prospect.
Prospecting, all right, prospecting. Second step?
Preparation.
No.
Oh, wait.
Before that?
Approach.
Approach. Yeah.
Yes, make appointment.
Appointment.
Make an appointment. And the third step?
Preparation.
Preparation.
Preparation. The fourth step?
Understanding.
your customer.
Needs.
Yes.
The needs especially. All right, now once you have understood the customer's needs, so what do you think will be the next step? This is where you will be
You breach. You breach the gap with your opportunity.
correct.
Yes.
This is in sales term we call this pitching, or presentation.
Presentation.
Yeah, this is where you are going to present to your customers about your product and how the product can actually help your customers. Yeah, so that is the next step. That is where, and this is the step where the the salesperson will need to be able to use different techniques in terms of how they can actually convince their customers that whatever they're proposing is good for the customers. It's good for the customers, not for the salesperson. Because from the finding of facts just now, finding of needs, then they will have found out what actually the customers actually want.
Sales is more like psychology, if I may put it, because whoever your prospect is probably have the first notion that he wants to make money off me.
Exactly.
So you have, as a salesperson, you have to craft your story or your pitching in a way where they will feel they need what you are selling more than what they are giving you.
Correct.
solution.
So one of the technique in pitching is solution based. So which means that I have Jonathan, for example, I've asked some questions of you, and then you have given me some information. And once he has given me some information, so from there I'll be able to understand what product would I propose to Jonathan, right? Because that's how, and this is what we call as solution based.
Whoa, that's brilliant.
Yeah, because I have understood that you have a gap here, right? You have a need here, and because based on this gap and this need, this will be the right product for you to help you resolve a problem that you have.
I see.
That's where I am the problem solver.
So where that storytelling come in place?
That's where your pitching comes in. No, it can be in the form of a story. Right? For example, you can talk about the customer. For example, you can talk Leo has this issue, which is very similar to yours, and then you talk about your story.
Your story.
Right, to
testimonials,
you, to Jonathan. So that is how one of the way in terms of how we can convince people is through stories. Now, the other part in terms of how we can convince our customer is also through data or through facts, because some of them may want to see some research work, some of them may want to see some certification, like for example, in your case, right, they want to see some certification, some data, right? Some effectiveness, how effective is your product. So that's where you are able to show it to them, to convince them, right? Your product is the right product.
Amazing.
Right. And of course, one of the technique which for me personally is also one of my favorite technique besides solution based, besides the data and all that, is value based. Now we always say that, right? A lot of people talk about price. Price is, your price is too high, your price is I cannot afford it and all that. So price is something that cannot exist by its own.
Yeah.
It has to be in relation to something else. For example, I give you a product, you give me the money. So that is the price, the price of the product. But the question is that, now, how do I put a price to the product? Some people will say, hey, that is cheap. Some people will say, that is too expensive. So how do we put the right price for the product? Now, that's where it boils down to value. What kind of value that you put into the product? Does it help you in certain things? So that is why when customers look at the value, they will always say that, I paid this value. Yeah,
I should get this.
I should get this
Same amount of
product.
value.
Yes, at least the same amount of value. But if I pay for something, but I get less of the value,
I'm not satisfied.
yes, and that is where I will not buy again. So it goes with the value. And my favorite when it comes to pricing is, I use this one a lot, right? Value for money. Something that you pay and it has to provide value for you. So I must see the value. For us also, when we want to buy anything, we always look at value.
Yeah, that's true.
Why you buy that shirt? It provides a certain value.
It makes me feel,
So that is where, for example, the value could be comfort, right? Or the value could be prestige, in the sense that some people, they love to buy LV handbags, Hermes handbags.
Also the way it makes them feel.
Exactly.
So in other words,
we're selling
emotions.
Emotions, yes, correct.
People buy emotions,
Correct,
not
correct.
logic.
Yeah.
So I can come out and tell you that this product has the best ingredient from beetroots to has the best.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't
to
mean
them.
anything.
Yes.
It doesn't make the person feel good.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
That's
So, if people wants to be healthy, what will be a great selling point for them, right? You can be healthy. It will prevent you from having diseases, right? So that is the value, and it has nothing to do with research. Sometimes,
Yeah. Make it simple. People buy emotions.
Yeah.
And people buy stories. So in other words, because in what worked for me over time is I love telling stories. My story, first of all, and the story of others. If I don't
Right.
have a story, I borrow the story of others.
Correct.
Because one thing I've learned that people buy stories, not logic.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So if you come out that you have the best product and you want to wow the person with the ingredients of the
Yep.
product, it doesn't mean
Anything.
But if they share similar problems and issues with, let's say, Mr. Liu, and I can tell you that, guess what? How Mr. Liu lost 7 kilograms within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
really? What did it?
Yeah.
Just by drinking a juice known as colon guard juice.
Yes.
Just like that.
Yeah. Correct.
So he simply by than me telling that, okay, we have this ingredient and the colon guard, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So people always buy stories. and
Very
not
true,
logics.
very true. Just a couple of days ago, I was doing a sales training for a company, a heavy machinery company, and they were saying that, right, our price is more premium than our competitors. I said, which is very true, right? So that is why you cannot put price as your selling point, because price is never your selling point.
Yeah.
There's something else.
Value.
The value that you are providing that is commensurate with the price that you are paying. It must be of equal value or even higher than that. So that is why, if you tell me, right, for example, I am a person who only want cheap products, the lowest price product, then you are not my customer.
That's true.
Right? But if you are a customer who looks for value, then let's sit down and talk. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, so that is where don't only talk about price, because once you start talking about price,
There's always someone cheaper.
yes, there's always someone who is cheaper than you, there's always someone who is lower price than you, and there's always someone who undercut you.
So this actually, I have a story when I was like, I had to do a degree program somewhere, and I was looking at the price, and it was so expensive. And then one of my mentor, I'll use, say, listen, everything is expensive. Would you rather choose the cost of ignorance or the cost of education?
Wow.
And I was like, that really hit me. Cost of ignorance. I mean, against the cost of, education.
Right. Yeah.
So it is the value. I'm looking at the value that
Correct.
education is going to bring.
Yes.
And I had to make that choice.
Yes.
Even
correct.
though it will cost me, it is going to be better in the long run than not doing it at all.
Yes, that is where the value comes in. So when we are pitching to our potential customers or to our existing customers, do they see the value? Or have we convinced them of the value? Because sometimes when people are not convinced, then it's like we have not shared with them the actual value of what we are actually providing them.
And I think one of the greatest way to share value is testimonials.
Correct. Stories.
Stories.
Stories. Yes.
Story,
very powerful. Very
you-
powerful.
as a salesperson, you have to be able to collect catalogs of stories.
Right.
A lot of them.
Not only that, usually what I will also recommend for companies to do is that do ask their customers who are happy with their products to record
There we
the
go.
video.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
There we go.
To record some testimonies. It doesn't have to be long, just a minute kind of testimony. And then after that, they can actually show the testimony to the
People.
to their customers.
I think Leo is here. I'm here myself, and the Yes Global community needs us on this. I think we can throw a campaign, and the campaign will be like people to share stories,
Testimonies, yeah.
record it, have the background of Yes
Right,
Global,
right.
good video, good audio,
Audio, yeah,
coming
yeah.
out,
Yes.
and the best ones will
Get away some prizes.
yeah, we'll get some surprises, and then we can be able to put it in our back office. It becomes our testimonial hub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So that it
Yes,
becomes
correct.
a powerful tool because our products have blessed a lot of people.
Yes.
But now this becomes a testimonial tool
Correct,
for people to go out, the salesperson to go out there and sell value.
If the testimonials are so powerful, the salesperson or the networkers don't really have to talk so much. They don't have to say so much because the product sells by itself. Those testimonies.
Over to you.
I guess that we have to do it. Yeah, most likely. So let's really plan it out because I think that most of the time, how do we buy it? Usually by word of the mouth. We listen our
Exactly,
friends
yeah.
recommending some products, and then we're like, oh, okay. If it works for my friend, most likely it works for us.
Exactly.
Definitely. And of course, after you have done your pitching, you have tried to convince your customers the goodness of your product. But do you think they will immediately agree to sign?
So there we go for follow-ups.
Exactly. In sales, we call it objections.
Objection handling. I see.
Handling objection.
Handling objections, yes.
This
Because
is
we
key.
know it is not as smooth as that. They will say that, wow, your product is so good. Where do I sign? I don't think that will happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely they will say something to be able to push you away. Like, for example, what would they say? Yeah,
Too expensive.
too expensive. Yeah. Then they will say that not at the moment.
It gives me headache.
Yeah, right. Or they'll say that let me discuss with my spouse first, right? Or they'll come up with 1001 things that where they will just push you away. So it is not as smooth as that. So the sixth step is basically handling objections. Yeah, and in fact, in the selling process, this is the longest part. Yeah, it takes time. It takes time to be able to convince people in order to be able to overcome their objections. Because after they've given you one objection, another objections will come. After that, they have heard about from some other people and said that, oh, I heard about Yes, or for example, Yes Global and all that. I heard the company's reputation not so good.
For example. Yeah.
For example, right? So that is where you will need to continue handling objections until there are no more objections.
So handling objection is a skill. I believe
Right.
it's a skill on its own. And in one of our podcasts, we'll be looking at handling objections and follow-ups.
And what they need actually are techniques. So there are quite a number of techniques, which during my trainings also I will be sharing with them the techniques in terms of how to answer. At the same time also I will demonstrate to them, for example, throw me any objections. They can throw me any objections and I'll use any of those techniques and I'll answer those objections. So that is how it is done.
I'm so excited to know.
That's beautiful. I'm so excited.
If they know the techniques, whoever can just pick the techniques and just answer.
Wow. So this adds so much value to all of the audience.
Yeah, so that's, you see, in the Yes Ascent system, one of the key points is handling objections.
Yes,
all right?
yes.
Handling objections. And I think in our podcast, we should have a time
where we will focus,
where we'll
dedicate,
dedicate on handling objections.
right,
So
yes.
you're going to show the
Techniques, yes,
yeah,
the different techniques,
to handle any kind of objection.
Exactly. Any kind of objections, they can put down whatever objections, and we'll come up with an answer.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Because selling is a very standard thing. We always tell the salespeople, it's a very standard thing. Whatever objections that are given by one customer, actually, majority of the customers will say the same thing. So if you have one answer, it can be applied to all the others.
Oh, this is so much, too much.
Yes.
Too much to learn here.
Too much to digest. Well, but that is why I would say that selling is such a beautiful thing. It is wonderful for me to be in the industry, to be in the profession. That is why because I was fortunate to learn the whole system, right? And that is why right now I am teaching, training people in terms of the system. So that's why I've demonstrated the system in practically every industry.
Oh, that's beautiful. So what is the other?
The seventh is, of course, after you have handled objections and there are no more objections, what do?
Close sales.
Close sales, yes. But of course, when it comes to closing sales, there are also certain techniques that you use in order to close, right? One thing which I realize about salespeople is that they can do wonderful presentation, they can handle objections, but one thing that they actually forgot to do is
Closing.
close. Ask for
Money.
Ask for the order. Yeah, pass me your money.
Transaction.
Which a lot of people
the reason why you started in the first place.
exactly, but a lot of people has this mental block. I would
Yeah.
call it. Should I ask for the order? Should I ask for their money now? Should I get them to sign the form? So what should I do? So yeah, close.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole purpose you are there, right?
Yeah.
To close.
Yeah.
So you must close.
Because without closing the sales, I mean, the first six ticks is already a waste.
It is a waste. So one of the objectives why you need to go and meet your customer is basically to close.
Yes, that's correct.
That's the one of the goal that you need to have.
And I believe that in the next few episodes, and you actually go and explain to the people that how to really close those techniques, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, definitely not this time.
Definitely, because now is to give you all a general idea, the big picture in terms of how actually the selling system is about. And of course, last but not least, after you have done the closing, we talk about after sales service.
That's very important too.
That's important.
Yeah. Customer retention.
Definitely, right? So for example, for your company, you have a after sales team, right?
Yes.
Yeah. For any organization, they need to have
After-sales team.
support. Some
Yes.
they call it sales support. Some they call it the customer service, right? So that depends. But after sales service is equally important.
Yes, because it's the one that actually keeps the customer. Because after they purchase, they may face even some problems, like challenges, and then without customer service, all these challenges won't be,
Retention is key.
Yeah,
Yes,
retention is key.
That is where it leads to retention. Yeah, right. And when it comes to after sales service, I have this principle to share with the participants. Always do 100% plus 1%.
101%.
Yes.
Always give your best.
What it means is that it is the extra mile service that you are providing to your customers.
Oh, so 100% is closing the sale, making your money, and then plus 1%.
That is where the
the
after
support.
sales service, the support. So
that's
it
beautiful.
is the extra services that you are providing to your customers that will determine whether your customers will keep coming back to you.
Yeah, I think from the words of Dean Briggs, he was like, do your work. Not just your work and nothing more, but a little more for that love efficiency.
Correct.
And I think that's what you were talking about.
Exactly.
That 1%
Yes.
can change the game all.
Exactly. It can change the whole way of doing business. Right. That's why I say that, right? The biggest differentiation in any organization, it's not about the product. It's about the service.
Service.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you can provide service that is so different from the others, you have got it. You will get people who keep coming back to you.
This is so interesting.
Yeah, it
So
is. It
interesting.
is. It is.
I mean, you can do all the 100%, but that little 1% can change your business.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that is why we don't only train the salespeople in terms of selling, you also need to train the salespeople in terms of servicing.
Yeah.
Because without good servicing, then you can't build an organization.
No, you
It's
can't.
what that keeps the organization as well. I think
Exactly.
one of the things that we can actually observe will be Apple, I would say. Apple is becoming more like a service company than a product company. Because in comparison, Androids and Apple, when you talk about specification of the phone, Androids are becoming very, very competitive. And sometimes I think even eclipse Apple's technology.
Yep.
But I think the reason why Apple is still the most valuable company in the world, simply because the service is the best. Because once you go into their ecosystem, their phone, they're not just selling a phone, but they're selling that even if you lose your phone, the next phone you buy from the Apple store, and when you get your iCloud out, it'll be just the exact same phone that you have lost. So this is a technology that no Android phone can actually replicate, and which is the reason why they are still the most valuable company in the world right now.
Very true. And when it comes to service, I always tell companies to benchmark against 2 industries when you want to provide that kind of service. The first industry is what we call the hospitality industry, the hotels. Right, the hotels industries, they especially the 4-star and the 5-star hotel, the kind of the levels of service that they provide you must match the kind of price that you pay for it. So that is where the first industry is the hotel industry. Now the second industry is the airline industry. So they also have to provide a kind of service level that is on par with what you are paying. So if you really want good service, these are the 2 industries that you need to benchmark against.
And I think talking about services, we should really learn from the Japanese and the Chinese, especially Chinese, I would say. Because over the years, the reason why I actually choose a lot of Chinese services is because simply because of their services. I'll just give you an example, not to mention companies, but when I book from American booking companies, American booking company, not any website that you hear of, okay? So whenever you go to the customer service, you can never reach any real person. They'll ask you to email, and by the time that you email, things will be too late, and then there will be no refund, nothing.
Right.
But one thing, when you go to actually Chinese companies, okay, particularly if I want to commend this company, will be Trip.com, Chinese Trip.com, and even Figi. Okay, what I love about these companies is that they will always call until your phone break, because I'm a very busy person. Most of the time I don't pick up my calls, but they'll call you until your problem is solved. And this is not services that you can't see from many platforms. Like for example, if I want to change my flight details, or if I want to change my hotel bookings, most of the time you book from those platforms, you won't get anything, but they will call you, confirm with you, until that you have confirmed, they say, okay, ticket closed. So I think, like you rightly mentioned, services is the key to retain the customer and keep customers happy.
Yes.
And even, snowball your customers into your leaders who will introduce you the business.
I think that this is one skill that we need to hammer in our community, because most of them, after closing sales, they think the job is done.
No, the job is, I won't even say half done. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
So the job starts right after the closing.
Exactly. Because if you want repeat business,
services for retention.
Yes, retention and repeat business. Yeah, you definitely need to do service. If you don't have service, well, that's the one and only business you do. I'm not going to buy from you again.
Oh no. Yeah. Luckily, you have Yes Academy. Yeah, I'm going to share with you guys, right? All of us are going to share with you on how you can really retain a customer with all the tips and tricks. And as you have rightly mentioned in here from Mr. Pang just now, all the 8 steps. So there are still many in-depth skills that
within the 8
steps.
There
are a lot.
Yeah. So I believe that over the time that you will slowly leak out your alpha on how why
bit by bit.
But what's going to keep us motivated to share? I mean, of course, it's the like and share button.
Yes. And do comment. If you have any comments, please put it down in our comment section.
And I'm also thinking that, after doing so many episodes, we should really start to really engage with our audience, like, for example, we should give them some incentive to share, an incentive to like, and even write testimonies, what they have learned from all our programs, you know. So what do you think? What should we give them, you know?
Oh, let it be a
Your
surprise.
company's products or
Let it be a
something?
surprise.
How about this? Okay, let's let products and also cash prizes.
Yeah, we can do that.
You can
That
definitely
would be
do
great.
that.
That would be great.
So I think, you know, guys, if you are looking at the, you know, podcast right now, please write down some testimonies, write down some feeling about how you feel about our podcast, because it's been a long, so many episodes right here, and we really want to hear from you. And then we will choose the top 3 best. How do you call it? Is it testimony? No, not testimony.
Success stories? Success stories?
Success story or personal sharing that we feel that it is really good.
Honest views.
Honest views.
view,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we will definitely go and, you know, in this podcast, we'll talk about it. And these 3 persons will walk away with Yes Global products and a cash prize of $100 each.
Each.
Wow. I would love to grab that. Well, we had a wonderful session together.
Yeah.
So we will see you again in our next episode. Till then, happy selling.